Before we get into the video, could everyone please subscribe to my Endless Diary Tales channel? Thank you so much. Ethan Cole was the superstar I had poured my heart and soul into creating. But when he won the Best Actor award, he accused me of coercing him into unethical deals and indirectly causing his mother's death. Overnight, I went from being a gold medal manager to a pariah, hated and despised by everyone. I ended up dying in a bathtub. When I opened my eyes again, I was back at the audition scene. This time I chose Ryan Mitchell, whose looks and physique were far inferior to Ethan's. But Ethan, eyes red with emotion, said to me, "This time I'll listen to you. Do you still want me?" "Get lost," I said coldly. "As far away as you can." Zoe, standing next to me, whispered in excitement, "Wow, that guy is so handsome. He could survive on his looks alone." The moment Ethan Cole stepped into the audition, his sharp features and tall, striking build caused a commotion. He was even more handsome than the most popular idols. I just wondered if he had any real talent. Someone muttered, and a male contestant snorted sarcastically. "Guys like him are all pretty faces. No talent whatsoever. He's so good-looking. He should just go be an idol. What's he doing here at an actor's audition?" As expected, they were right. Other than his face, Ethan had nothing to offer. Even the simplest acting exercises left him frozen and awkward, like a wooden puppet. Two managers nearby shook their heads in disappointment, lamenting the waste of his good looks. But I let him pass. Under my strict training and meticulous management, Ethan made extraordinary progress. He rose from being an unknown rookie to the most promising actor, and finally won the Best Actor award at the Golden Summit Film Festival. None of that would have been possible without me. Without my efforts to pull strings, secure resources, and suppress negative press. Without me, he would have been nothing more than a pretty face, incapable of achieving his dreams. But in return he betrayed me. When he accepted the Best Actor award, he tearfully revealed to the public that I had coerced him into compromising situations, and even embezzled the money meant to treat his mother's illness, leading to her death. That night, his sobbing speech was, in my eyes, the best performance of his career. Yet it ruined me. The phone calls poured in that night, all asking why I hadn't killed myself yet. "You're a toad lusting after a swan," they spat. "You dare to manipulate Ethan Cole? Have you even looked at yourself in the mirror? Murderer, go die." In reality, his mother had never been sick. She was drowning in gambling debt. After Ethan became famous, she used illness as an excuse to extort money from him. I warned him repeatedly, but he refused to believe me. Finally, unable to watch him throw his earnings into a bottomless pit, I confronted his mother and forced her to leave him alone. But she never changed. She gambled herself to ruin, eventually losing her life because of it. Ethan blamed it all on me. I knew he resented me, resented my strictness, resented my harsh training methods. After his mother died, the hatred in his eyes toward me only grew stronger. Eventually, that resentment exploded. Ethan's fans threatened me. They harassed my parents, saying, "Having a daughter like that, you must be terrible people. Tell her to go die already." And so I did as they wished. I ended my life in a bathtub. When I opened my eyes again, I was back at the audition scene. Ethan Cole was performing an awkward, embarrassing scene. Laughter erupted from backstage, but he stood there confidently, his face still carrying that familiar arrogance. His simple hairstyle made him look even sharper, and his intense gaze was locked on me. I remember what I'd said to him once. "If you want to be an actor, I'll help you." That promise of mine had given him a confidence he didn't deserve. Zoe nudged me with her elbow. "Rachel, you're the only one who hasn't chosen yet. David and I still prefer the more talented candidates, but this guy seems like your type. You could take him in and train him." I nodded at Zoe and, without hesitation, held up the fail sign. Ethan froze, his expression collapsing instantly. Confusion clouded his gaze, his mouth dropping slightly. Zoe stared at me in disbelief. "Aren't you the best at managing these pretty boys? Why not take him? If he doesn't improve, you can let him go when the contract ends." I stared at Ethan Cole and said, "He's not worthy of my time." His face turned red with anger. His hands clenched into fists, and under the sound of mocking laughter, he stormed out of the room. Next up was a boy who looked about 1.8 meters tall. He wasn't particularly eye-catching, but his features were clean and proper. Nervously, he stepped to the center of the room. After taking several deep breaths, he began his performance. His acting wasn't much better than Ethan's, and Chania and the others shook their heads, signaling their disapproval. But I raised the pass card. In my previous life, Ryan Mitchell didn't pass our company's auditions. He signed with a small studio instead. While Ethan was starring as the male lead, Ryan spent his time playing extras, but he never stopped improving. Whenever he had the time, he enrolled in acting classes. Over the years, he climbed his way up from supporting roles to leading roles, and his progress surprised me. At the Surprise Film Festival, he was even nominated for Best Actor. Unfortunately, the movie he invested everything into lacked funding and marketing, so it flopped. I heard he had poured his entire savings into that film, but it ended in failure. For an actor, a good movie can be the key to winning awards, and Ethan had taken full advantage of that. Even though Ethan didn't win the Best Actor award, he still managed to clap graciously for his opponent. But this time, I would help Ryan. As I walked to the parking lot, someone suddenly blocked my way. A cold voice came from above me. "Didn't you say you'd help me?" I looked up at him. Ethan Cole, a dog who never learned loyalty. Why should I waste my efforts again? Without a word, I turned and walked away. That very day, our company was ending online. Ethan Cole had signed with our competitor, One Heart Entertainment. Means mocked us relentlessly. Seriously, you passed up on a handsome guy like that to sign someone so mediocre? Is your manager brain dead? I'd watch Ethan even if his acting sucked. Who cares? He's hot. Signed up for the Ethan Cole fan club. Sorry not sorry. The boss's face darkened as he scrolled through the comments. Rachel, are you insane? Your artists have always represented our company's standards for looks, and you signed that guy. Boss, watch your wording, I said calmly. I can guarantee you this. Within 3 years, Ryan Mitchell will shine brighter than anyone. The boss let out a sarcastic laugh. If you told me Ethan Cole would blow up because of his looks, I'd believe it. But Ryan? Impossible. I'll stake my career on it. If I fail, I'll personally take responsibility for any losses. Seeing how determined I was, the boss didn't say anything more. When I opened the door, I found Ryan standing there with his head hanging low, looking guilty. I'm sorry, Rachel. I didn't mean to put you in a tough spot. If you want to cancel my contract, I won't ask for compensation. I patted his shoulder reassuringly. Don't overthink it. I signed you because I believe in you. In my previous life, when I was helping Ethan rehearse on set, I often saw Ryan practicing alone on the sidelines. Even for a single line of dialogue, he would repeat it dozens of times until he found the perfect delivery. He might not have been a natural-born genius, but his hard work was enough to surpass. Of course, the other managers in the company seized this opportunity to gossip behind my back. They had always looked down on the fact that I worked with pretty boys, yet my artists still landed the best resources. Now that I'd signed Ryan, they pounced on the chance to tear me down. Rachel, you've always been good at picking trending stars. How did you screw up so badly this time? I turned and looked at them dismissively. At least my artists are famous. What about yours? That shut them up quickly. I had Ryan move into the trainee apartment and set up a strict daily schedule for him. What he lacked naturally, we would make up for with hard work. Most importantly, I placed a mirror by his bed and instructed him to practice facial expressions for at least half an hour every day. He followed my instructions to the letter, even sending me videos to prove he'd done it. Ethan Cole, on the other hand, used to say, Rachel, with this face, do I really need expression training? I could make any expression and still drive my fans wild. I didn't agree. It was exactly because I managed good-looking stars that people mocked me as a pretty boy manager. I wanted to prove myself and shake off that label, so I had bet everything on Ethan. But every time I tried to push him, he'd grow impatient, even whining to his fan groups about how strict I was. My inbox would blow up with angry messages from his fans telling me to treat their precious Ethan better. After 2 months of grueling training, I asked Ryan, "Aren't you tired of all this?" He shook his head. "Not at all. Whatever you ask me to do, I'll do it." I ruffled his hair approvingly. Unlike others, he was focused and obedient. Over the next few months, I enrolled him in posture and fashion classes. Even though he wasn't the tallest in the industry, his overall presence had improved significantly. All he needed now was to keep working with me. I'll make him into a superstar. I lined up a small supporting role for Ryan Mitchell. It wasn't a big part, but the role itself was challenging. For the week leading up to filming, I saw him in the practice room every day, repeatedly rehearsing the lines and actions. Pushing the door open, I said, "Ryan, you've practiced those lines and movements enough. Take a break." Wiping the sweat from his face, he smiled at me with that pure, earnest expression. "This is the first time I've had a role with so many lines. I have to make the most of it. I can't let you down, Rachel." In truth, he only had about 20 lines, but compared to his previous roles where he had maybe one line, or even just a silhouette, this was a huge opportunity. When you've never truly had something before, you learn to treasure every bit of it. I couldn't help but think back to Ethan Cole's first role. It was a fourth male lead, but he tossed the script aside and scoffed. "I'm not doing it, Rachel. My face was born for leading roles. If I'm not the male lead, I'm at least the tragic second lead." He lounged arrogantly in his chair, legs crossed, toying with his expensive watch. Every time I lost my temper with him, he'd remind me, "You're the one who promised my dad at his grave that you'd take care of me." What, regretting it now? I was regretting it. Regretting that I hadn't slapped him across the face when I had the chance. Ryan performed exceptionally in his small role. The producer was so impressed that he recommended us for an audition for a third male lead in a new project. Ryan wasn't the same boy from 6 months ago. Under my careful guidance, his presence had transformed, and his acting skills had improved dramatically. But that day, nerves got the better of him. He stumbled during the crying scene, and didn't quite hit the mark. It was disappointing, but I patted his shoulder and said, "It's okay. We've only just started. One failure doesn't mean anything." "Isn't this Rachel, the manager?" A sharp, sarcastic voice interrupted me before I could finish. It was Anna Howell, Ethan Cole's manager from One Heart Entertainment. When she signed Ethan, she boasted online that she would turn him into a star with both popularity and acting skill. I glanced behind her, and sure enough, Ethan stood there, as composed and confident as ever. But something was different. His eyes had lost some of their arrogance. Anna sneered. "What's wrong, Rachel? Did your boy flop in the audition?" "Thanks for clearing the path for Ethan." Ethan shot me a glance before heading inside. Surprisingly, he performed well. Nothing like the awkward mess I remembered. His acting reminded me of his prime, back when he had won the Best Actor award. I couldn't help but feel startled. Anna laughed smugly beside me. "See, he's not just a pretty face. He's a natural-born acting genius. Perfect. Absolutely perfect." She walked off to find Ethan, but to my surprise he walked straight toward me instead. Lowering his head slightly, he said, "This time I'll listen to you. Will you still sign me?" Of course, he had been reborn too, but some things once lost are lost forever. "You're a dog that can't be trusted," I thought to myself. "I won't make the same mistake twice." Anna grabbed Ethan by the arm, clearly agitated. "What are you doing? I'm the one who signed you. Stop wasting your time on her." Ethan said nothing, just stared at me in silence. But I focused all my attention on Ryan, comforting him as we left the set. On the way back, he noticed something was off. "Rachel, did I do so badly that you're disappointed in me?" I shook my head. "No, I just saw an old dog that bit me once. Just remember," I continued, "what matters now is learning the roles that suit you, no matter how big or small." News broke soon after that Ethan had landed the third male lead role. It immediately trended online, and the internet was filled with ridicule toward Ryan. Ethan even posted smugly, "Some people just don't know a good thing when they see it. I'll make sure they regret it." Clearly, the some people he meant was me. It was laughable. Even given a second chance, I'd never choose Ethan again. Anyone who thought otherwise had to be out of their mind. Ironically, all the buzz only ended up boosting Ryan's visibility. Offers started rolling in for him, but they were all for villain roles, and the lead actor in every one of those projects was Ethan Cole. Clearly, They were trying to ride the wave of the controversy. Among the many invitations, I noticed a variety show called Future Best Actor. It was a competition where rookie actors competed in acting challenges, with a final champion crowned at the end. It was the perfect chance for Ryan to build his reputation and improve his skills. When we arrived on set, I wasn't surprised to see Anna Howell and Ethan Cole there. Ethan was lounging arrogantly in a chair, his legs crossed. Lately, his career had been skyrocketing, 2 idol dramas back to back, and he gained a massive following of young female fans. Anna spotted me immediately and flashed a fake smile. "Rachel, you're here too." Anna Howell smirked as she glanced at me. "But you might as well withdraw now. The champion will definitely be Ethan." I rolled my eyes and ignored her. As I passed Ethan Cole, he said coldly, "Do you really think you can push Ryan Mitchell to where I once stood? Good. Stop dreaming. I'm the reason you became a gold medal manager. It was all because of this face." Even with a second chance at life, he was still this delusional. I couldn't even look at him like a normal person anymore. Someone like him, so arrogant, would only fall harder the higher he climbed. "Is that so?" I replied calmly. "I look forward to the day you fall." His face darkened, but I knew the truth. In my last life, no one else could have propelled Ethan to where he was. No one, not even Anna Howell. Meanwhile, Ryan had retreated, curling up in the stairwell with his arms wrapped around his knees. "Rachel," he whispered faintly, "maybe I should drop out." At the same time, Ethan's acting skills had rapidly improved and he had already landed lead roles. I thought back to my younger self, who had been so melancholic and insecure, feeling small whenever I saw someone else shining. "Ryan, this is the last time I'm telling you," I said firmly. "I don't regret signing you. But if you give up like this, then I'll regret it." He looked up at me, his eyes clouded with confusion, a look I had never once seen on Ethan. Ethan had never faced struggles like this. Thanks to his face, he had always received preferential treatment. He would never understand how hard it was for ordinary people to grow. The program began as scheduled to boost ratings. The producers had arranged for the manager to sit in an observation room. They cleverly placed me and Anna in the center, complete with 2 cameras pointed directly at us, ready to capture every subtle expression. The competition started with each contestant performing a dramatic scene. Ryan's role was that of a husband grieving at his wife's grave. His delivery of the lines and his crying scene were both handled beautifully. Even the other managers couldn't help but praise him. "Hyun's really come a long way," someone murmured. "Hyun's got potential." I smiled, proud of him, but Anna scoffed, clearly unhappy. "That's considered good acting? Just wait until you see Ethan." Ethan played a police officer interrogating a suspect, but instead of immersing himself in the character, he spent the entire time showing off his jawline. Because in his mind, his jawline was sharper than anyone's lifeline. Without me there to stop him, he indulged himself completely. The whole performance was greasy and exaggerated. "Look at him." Anna clapped excitedly. "Isn't he handsome? And that jawline? Perfection." I glanced at her exaggerated applause and thought to myself, "You need to eat something better." The judges had a hard time critiquing Ethan's performance. In the end, they simply said, "Ethan Cole is a textbook idol male lead." Anyone with a shred of intelligence knew what that really meant, but to Ethan's fans, this was a glowing compliment. See, even the professionals say Ethan is born to play leading roles. Those other nobodies should just get lost. I sighed. The apple truly doesn't fall far from the tree. Next was the group segment, and the producers deliberately placed Ryan and Ethan in the same group. Anna smirked with a smug look. "Sorry, Rachel. Since Ethan's the lead, your boy can only play a bit part." I had known before coming that One Heart Entertainment had sponsored the show, but I wasn't worried because 2 veteran actors, Mr. Jang Zong and Mr. Gue, were among the judges. In life, I had taken Ethan to visit these 2 senior actors. We had been a few minutes late, and they had lectured us for an hour. Both had long since stopped acting, but the production team had brought them on board to lend credibility to the show. With the 2 veterans on the panel, Anna and the others wouldn't dare pull any obvious tricks. They would have to operate in the shadows. A few days later, the first group performance began. Ethan played an undercover cop, the main character, while Ryan played a hostage with only one line. During the scene, Ethan kept angling his face so his left side faced the camera. He was convinced his left side looked better, but instead of portraying righteousness, his excessive expressions made him look smug and overconfident. Ryan, on the other hand, stayed in character the entire time, whether or not the camera was on him, just as I had instructed. When the performance ended, the judges were silent for a moment. Finally, Mr. Gue spoke up. "The only one I noticed during that performance was Ryan Mitchell," he said. Mr. Zong nodded in agreement. Ethan, who was used to constant praise, couldn't hold back. "Maybe you've been out of the acting game for too long. You just don't understand what young audiences like these days. I suggest you watch some of my recent dramas." The room fell completely silent. Even Anna froze in shock. She quickly dragged Ethan backstage, frantically signaling the production crew to stop filming. A swarm of staff members rushed in to shut off cameras and check for recordings. Anna pulled Ethan aside to apologize profusely to the judges and arrange for him to re-record the scene. Only then did she relax a little. How could I possibly let them have it easy? If they had planted people among the production crew, did they think I wouldn't do the same? A video of Ethan Cole arguing with veteran actors exploded online soon after. Actors and directors who had worked with him in the past came forward to criticize him, saying he was uncooperative on set, always throwing tantrums and insisting on wearing his own clothes instead of the costume. The scandal stuck, and Ethan was branded as rude and difficult to work with. While his fan base managed to control some of the heat, the general public wasn't so easily fooled. People flooded social media condemning him. They could buy bots, but so could I. I decided to push the narrative further. Why stop when people were already suspicious? I bought a wave of online commentators to lead the charge against Ethan. From then on, Ethan gained a new nickname, the Young Master. It was, of course, pure mockery. Meanwhile, Ryan Mitchell's name was finally being noticed. People praised his acting and said he had a bright future ahead of him. Seeing those comments made me feel truly satisfied. My phone rang. On the other end was Ethan's cold voice. "Do you really want to ruin me this badly? I already know the truth about my mother. Can't you give me another chance? Do you have to destroy me to feel happy?" His accusations. I felt nothing compared to that night when he publicly denounced me. This was nothing. "Yes," I replied indifferently. "Seeing you fall to ruin is exactly what I want." One Heart Entertainment immediately launched emergency PR efforts. They not only announced that Ethan would withdraw from the variety show, but also released a handwritten apology letter supposedly written by Ethan. I could tell at a glance that it wasn't his own writing. In my last life, when he offended senior actors on a show, I had to force him to write an apology letter. He had refused until the very end, so I ended up writing it for him. The PR team followed the same old playbook, having Ethan attend charity events to clean up his image. It was an unimaginative and tired strategy. Meanwhile, I continued to focus on Ryan. His rising popularity had even softened our boss's attitude toward me, so I proposed sponsoring the show. The boss immediately negotiated the partnership with our company's involvement. One Heart Entertainment wouldn't dare play any more tricks. After all, it wouldn't look good for them. Behind the scenes, I took Ryan to visit veteran actors Mr. Zong and Mr. Gue, seeking their guidance in acting. The two seniors were impressed by his dedication. "It's rare to see this kind of humility and willingness to learn in today's entertainment industry," they remarked. It was true. Most young actors today focused on generating online traffic and didn't care about the quality of their work. But I was determined to take the opposite approach. I believed that one day the industry would once again value skill over hype. Ryan steadily advanced through the competition, eventually winning the championship. The night he won, countless scripts were sent my way. I nearly couldn't decide which ones to choose, but I didn't just pick roles where he'd play the lead. What mattered more was the character itself. I selected 2 scripts for him. One where he'd play a police officer, and another where he'd take on the challenging role of a mentally disabled young man. After the show ended, Ryan immediately began shooting the films. Even while filming, he continued participating in charity events. One day he was feeding tigers, the next he was caring for pandas. But I noticed his smile in the photos was starting to look strange. Sure enough, that evening I overheard Ethan Cole and Anna Howell arguing in a hotel hallway. You must be joking, Ethan snapped. You want me to make a cameo in Ryan Mitchell's movie? Have you lost your mind? Do you still not understand your situation? Anna shot back. You're barely holding on right now, and you're acting like you're still the next big thing. Ethan was furious. It's not my fault you're useless. Rachel managed to get me great roles back then. Why can't you do the same? I'll tell the company I want a new manager. Anna's voice trembled with rage. Fine, Ethan Cole. If that's how you feel, you're on your own. She stormed off, slamming the door behind her shortly after. Entertainment's official account stopped updating any news about Ethan. Even his personal social media fell silent. I didn't need to guess where he was. He was likely hiding in some nightclub, partying like there was no tomorrow. In my last life, I covered up countless scandals of him clubbing and drinking. Looking back now, I realized how stupid I'd been. Meanwhile, Ryan followed my every instruction diligently on set. He focused solely on his acting. I kept up the relationships behind the scenes, ensuring everything went smoothly. Every few days, I arranged food trucks and water stations for the crew. I also encouraged Ryan to talk with the extras, listening to their experiences. Extras might not have big roles, but they were often the most experienced actors on set. Their stories gave Ryan valuable insights, and their support created a genuine and positive reputation for him. A well-marketed image was nothing compared to a reputation built on word of mouth. After every project wrapped up, the extras would post online praising Ryan for his kindness and hard work. Praise from the bottom rung of the industry was often the most believable and earned. Ryan was progressing step by step, steadily climbing his way to the top. But just when everything seemed perfect, Star Entertainment suddenly announced a major new project featuring Ethan Cole. That was the largest entertainment company in the country. The resources they held were far beyond anything our company could match. The very next day, a call came in from the drama we had negotiated for Ryan Mitchell. They abruptly claimed he wasn't suitable for the role. By the afternoon, they announced that Ethan Cole had been cast as the male lead instead. As if that weren't enough, the worst news hit soon after. Paparazzi exposed a scandal claiming that during his college years, Ryan had been in a relationship, and that the girl had become pregnant. The woman even came forward publicly to confirm the story. Suddenly, all of our partners called, demanding to terminate their contracts. The total penalties for breaking those contracts added up to nearly $10 million. The boss sat in his chair, holding his head in frustration. Rachel, he growled, didn't you say you'd take responsibility for the consequences? Tell me, how are you going to fix this? Before I could answer, Ryan pushed the office door open and said firmly, don't give Rachel a hard time. I'll take full responsibility for this. He grabbed my arm and pulled me out of the room. Once we were outside, I turned to him and asked, is it true? He hesitated before nodding. Yes, it's true. I dated her in college and she got pregnant. When I found out, I wanted to take responsibility, but she disappeared. I didn't know where she went. Of course, when I first signed Ryan, I had done a thorough background check. I knew about the relationship, but it wasn't a big deal. Actors are allowed to have personal lives. The key issue was whether he had failed to take responsibility. But now, the woman was writing multiple posts. TS online accusing Ryan relentlessly. There was no doubt in my mind that someone was behind this. I tracked her IP address, but it led to an internet cafe. Clearly, someone didn't want me to know where she really was. As I turned to leave, I saw a familiar face, Ethan Cole. He had gone for a trendy new look, his hair dyed gold and sparkling in the sunlight. His smile was as smug as ever. Rachel, he drawled. I told you that kid was going nowhere. You should have signed me instead. I walked up to him and asked coldly, you're the one behind this, aren't you? His face feigned innocence. Don't accuse me of things, Rachel. You know me, I don't have that kind of influence. Then get out of my way. I shoved him aside and left without another word. I paid off the owner of the internet cafe, instructing him to alert me the next time the woman showed up. After a few days, I got the call. I disguised myself and sat down next to her. She was furiously typing a new round of accusations online. Casually, I said, Do you know the maximum sentence for framing someone? It's up to 10 years in prison. Her hands froze mid-typing. She looked at me in panic. I don't know what you're talking about. She grabbed her bag and tried to leave, but I dragged her into a private room. I pressed further. 10 years, I repeated. She continued to deny everything, pretending to be clueless. I tossed a stack of documents in front of her. Proof that she had gone for a checkup in July 2018 and had been pregnant for over a month. The problem? 2 months before that, Ryan had been out of town for a club activity. The timeline didn't add up. The child couldn't have been his. She fell to her knees, trembling. I don't want to go to jail. Please, I don't want to go to jail. We won't press charges, I said coldly. As long as you tell me who's behind this. After a moment of hesitation, she whispered, It's Joanna Wong from the International Group. She's also the owner of Star Entertainment. So that's how it was. Ethan Cole had latched onto someone powerful. Under my pressure, the woman posted a public clarification, clearing Ryan's name. But even so, the damage was done. Public perception doesn't change overnight. People see the initial scandal, but rarely pay attention to the retraction. I didn't care. As long as we stayed steady, we could recover. But we were blocked at every turn. Every project and endorsement we considered, Ethan Cole managed to worm his way in. Whether he was suited for the role or not, he took it. The result? He ruined every project he touched. Lost in thought one day, I was suddenly taken to a high-end restaurant. Across the table sat 2 people. A manager from Star Entertainment and Ryan Mitchell. Look at him, Ethan sneered, sitting smugly at the table. The boy you worked so hard to bring up is about to betray you. Wouldn't it have been better if you had just signed me? We could have been unstoppable. You the sword and me the blade. As I turned to leave, I accidentally made a noise. Ryan immediately stood up and ran after me. Rachel, it's not what why. You think he said desperately they did offer to sign me? Ryan started, but I covered his mouth with my hand, signaling him to stop. I trust you. That moment, a memory surfaced. I finally remembered where I had seen him before. It was during the summer after my junior year of college. I was on my way home when I saw a 10-year-old boy acting in front of a mirror on the street. Curious, I approached him and asked, Do you want to be an actor someday? His young face lit up with innocence. Really? But I'm not very smart. I replied. Even if you're not a genius, hard work can always surpass talent. I had told him it was me who had encouraged him to walk this path. Now I understood why, in my last life, there was always something meaningful in the way he looked at me. Ryan, do you trust me? I asked. He nodded firmly. I reached out to every journalist I knew and released a video of Ethan Cole partying at a nightclub. I knew all too well what he was like behind the scenes. In my past life, I had kept a tight leash on him, preventing him from causing major trouble. Even so, he often snuck out to meet girls and go dancing, calling it his recharge time as a man. The video was explicit, with his words too crude to ignore. It went viral immediately. Star Entertainment tried to suppress it, but it was too late. There was no stopping something this explosive. Ethan, who already had no favor with the general public, completely fell apart. Of course, his obsessive fans jumped to his defense. So what if a guy goes to nightclubs? He's handsome. It's fine if he's a little flirtatious. If Ethan asked me out, I wouldn't say no. Their comments dominated the trending page, but most people just rolled their eyes at them. Fan loyalty didn't matter when producers saw their investments at risk. Scripts that once had Ethan as the lead were quickly recast. Star Entertainment pressured the producers, but no one would compromise their profits for Ethan. I quietly sat at home waiting. The phone calls came one after another. During this period, I didn't let Ryan sit idle. I arranged for him to visit sets where we knew extras and crew members. He filmed several vlogs during these visits, building a solid and relatable image among the public, something Ethan Cole couldn't compete with. With that momentum, I secured a role for Ryan in a major blockbuster film. As long as he gave it his all, this movie would propel him into the A-list. While we were busy preparing for the shoot, Ethan was frantically trying to salvage his reputation. This time, Star Entertainment resorted to something truly ridiculous. Ethan was forced to kneel during a live-streamed apology, but after so long without real acting work, his skills had deteriorated. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't squeeze out a single tear. The comments exploded with mockery, and he ended the broadcast in disgrace. Desperate, Star Entertainment played their final card. They partnered with a charity organization, sending Ethan to work as a teacher at a school for children with intellectual disabilities. To add weight to the stunt, they donated $500,000 to the charity. Ethan began live streaming daily, showcasing his kind heart and caring nature. Surprisingly, he managed to keep up the act for half a year. But in those 6 months, Ryan filmed 2 movies back-to-back. Both had top-tier production teams and veteran actors. When filming wrapped, Ryan received nothing but praise from the cast and crew. I then arranged for Ryan to do charity work, not to compete with Ethan, but because a local organization approached us. They hoped we could serve as ambassadors to raise awareness for their rural children's support program. Watching the photos of those young, innocent faces on screen brought tears to my eyes. Before I turned 10, I had been a left-behind child, constantly waiting for my parents to return home. Ryan noticed my emotions and worked harder during the campaign. His efforts paid off. He was now both talented and compassionate. A star who had earned both popularity and respect. Even the boss gave me a thumbs up. "Rachel, you really have an eye for talent. You found a real gem this time." A gem, I thought bitterly. It only cost me an entire lifetime to find him. Ethan, meanwhile, was watching Ryan's career soar while he remained stuck pretending to be kind-hearted. I could tell his frustration was eating him alive. Sweating nervously, he did what he always did. He turned to his sugar mama, Joanna Wong, for help. What he didn't know was that I had planted someone inside the charity association long ago. I watched as he dialed. "Joanna, sweetheart," he whined. "I can't stand being here anymore. It's my fault. I shouldn't have gone to the nightclub. I swear I won't do it again. Just come see me, please. I miss you." On the other end of the line, Joanna's voice was calm as she agreed. That night, a luxury sports car parked discreetly at the back entrance of the employee dormitory to avoid being seen. They hid in the storage room, naturally the one I had carefully prepared, locked from the outside. The two of them clung to each other, as if they wanted to melt into one. Soon, their embrace turned into something far more intimate, their heavy breathing mixing in the small space, completely oblivious to the camera hidden in the shadows. From my end, I watched the live feed, the two of them burning with passion. It was such a spectacle that I couldn't help but chuckle. I immediately logged into an anonymous account and posted, "If you want to see the action live, head to the storage room at the very end of the 3rd floor of the employee dormitory." After sending the message, I logged off. Within moments, the entire dormitory building lit up like daylight. Reporters carrying cameras swarmed the halls, rushing toward the scene. Star Entertainment staff tried to stop them, but there was no way they could hold back so many people. The storage room door was forced open, and the two people inside, deep in a heated kiss, froze. Stunned and panicking, they covered their heads and bolted in different directions. Joanna Wong was quickly escorted to a car by her family's bodyguards. Ethan Cole tried to follow her, but a bodyguard kicked him back down. Defeated, he curled up in a corner, arms wrapped protectively over his head until the police arrived to bring order. That night, Ethan Cole became the biggest joke on the internet. Star Entertainment immediately announced that they were terminating his contract. All of his endorsements were pulled, and he was forced to pay a massive amount in penalties for breaching his contracts. At that moment, Ethan was left with nothing. Meanwhile, Ryan Mitchell's movie premiered and was met with widespread acclaim. Industry insiders believed he had a strong chance of being nominated for Best New Actor. Sure enough, he achieved it. On awards night, Ryan stood tall on stage in a sharp, well-fitted suit, completely unrecognizable from the shy boy I had first met. His every move exuded elegance and class. The following year, Ryan won Best Actor for his role in Human Realm. Tears welled in his eyes as he stood on the podium, his voice choked with emotion. "I owe all of this to Rachel. If she hadn't signed me back then, I wouldn't be here today." The audience erupted into applause. Tears blurred my vision as well. I couldn't help but think back to another boy who once stood on this stage. But all he had brought me was disaster. Now Ryan had brought me honor and pride. Some people will never know how to be grateful, and losing them is no real loss. After Ryan's Best Actor win, I officially earned the title of Gold Medal Manager. My office was moved to the one right next to the boss's, symbolizing my growing influence. I had reached this position in my past life as well, but the view this time was completely different. Then I received a call from the police station. They asked me to come identify Ethan Cole's body. He was lying there, lifeless. I sighed. Of course, it was his mother who had shown up. She must have squeezed him dry for every cent he had left. In the end, they had jumped into a river together. I signed the papers and arranged for his body to be sent to the funeral home. Then I took his ashes back to his hometown. At the very least, I could let him return to where he came from. It was such a waste. With a second chance, I had made the right choices, while he had walked down a path of no return. My career only continued to flourish. Though Ryan eventually expressed his feelings for me, I turned him down. I chose to maintain a purely professional relationship with him. This way, we could maximize our mutual success and benefits.